Into some of the data for the last month, February closing out yesterday. If you just isolate the high temperatures, we ended up with the warmest February on record, but you got to factor in the low temperatures too to get an overall picture of the overall average temperature for the month. And we did end up being the third warmest February ever on record, with only 1954 and 1930 beating us out. And you can see the margin was very little, especially even between us and 1954. So did have a couple cooler mornings in there. Remember that cool down that we saw even earlier this week. Temperatures fell down to 9 degrees earlier, so that kind of factored into some of those overall average temperatures. But for March, we're starting out on a mild note. Averages for this time of the year in the middle 40s. Will be closer to 60 degrees today, which is closer to the average for the end of this month. And then also going forward in time, we've got by March 10th, spring forward. Going to have to set those clocks ahead by an hour, which will help some of these sunrise and sunset times to be looking a little bit later. Like by sunset at the end of the month, we'll be closing in on the 8 o'clock hour, which will give us more daylight throughout the rest of the day. So something to look forward to. Also the start of meteorological spring here today, March 1st, and this is how mild I'm talking. We could be getting around 64 degrees here in the capital city, even a little bit warmer than that looking out towards the west. Grand Island approaching 65 degrees today. That south and southwest wind will still be there, but not as strong as what we saw yesterday. Gusts were approaching 45 miles per hour here in Lincoln. We also have a little bit more cloud cover out there, kind of approaching from the south. Barry Law camera pointing towards the south. You can kind of see the reflection on the clouds there in the distance from our city lights, but that's kind of keeping us a little bit milder here this morning. 33 right now in Lincoln, a little bit warmer in Beatrice, Nebraska City, even Falls City in the upper 30s. Meanwhile, a little bit cooler out towards the Tri-Cities, Kearney at 28 degrees right now. 25 in Ogallala, and then look at that, Chadron at 41 degrees right now. There's a little bit more wind out that way. You can see that south and southwest wind around 13 miles per hour. Northeast Nebraska seeing a little bit more wind also this morning, and gusts still closing in on about 30 miles per hour in Norfolk, but not all that bad across the state. You can only see a couple stations reporting a little bit of a wind gust starting out here Friday morning. But going into the rest of the day today, still factor in that we could see wind gusts around 25 to 30 miles per hour in eastern Nebraska. It'll still be a breezy day today, but more so for northwest Nebraska especially. You're seeing these wind gusts around 30 to almost 40 miles per hour out there. Very dry conditions. We had a red flag warning across eastern Nebraska yesterday. It's shifted to be more so for northwest Nebraska today with some of that dry air. Some of this cloud cover that's increasing from the south to actually bring a little bit more moisture our way. It's spitting out maybe a few sprinkles further south and east towards Falls City, but really overall the center of this system well off to our south and east, and is going to continue moving towards the north and east, bringing a little snow to St. Louis, and we'll miss out on a lot of this precipitation as we go into the afternoon. Just a little more cloud cover that'll kind of fizzle out as we go into this afternoon. Mostly sunny, as you can see, statewide for Friday. So that'll help temperatures rebound from the 30s we're starting out in this morning to the 70s. Look at that through central Nebraska, approaching 75 degrees in Valentine again, 60s here close at home. It won't be a bad day at all, other than a little bit more of a wind too continuing throughout the day today. But Saturday, Sunday, look at that. We get back to the 70s. In fact, we could be approaching records on Sunday in the upper 70s. The record for that date, 78 degrees. And I've got 77 right now, but the timing of a cold front is going to be what plays out what we see on Sunday, because with that cold front we could see a few sprinkles. It looks like doesn't look like a lot of moisture associated with that, but it knocked temperatures back to kind of where they should be going into next week.
I was gonna say I'll take 55 and 60 degrees when it's a cold drop.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. Compared to this week and the 40s, yeah.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Jessica.